Oh, this is the question of the century. But how do you become known? For one thing, when you're good at everything, when you have so many passions, so many interests, when you change your Instagram bio every other day, when you're really questioning, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to be offering? Who am I supposed to speak to? If you're in the middle of this right now, this video is for you. Okay. Let's understand how we can niche without niching, how we can speak to one person, to one problem, without feeling like we're betraying ourselves. Okay. I got you. So, for context, I've been online for 10 years, growing my own personal brand and guiding creative entrepreneurs, photographers, dancers, founders from all types of background to grow a business in a way that feels sustainable, in a way that feels authentic to them. And I've been there. I've been through the turmoil of midnight, existential crisis. I've been through the wondering, how do I express what I do when it's so multi layered, when it's not just one thing, when it's so nuanced, and also the slight desire to not follow what people say and to not niche down and to not choose one problem, just avoid the whole thing. But now I get it. I understand. It's not that you can't. It's just that you're making it harder for yourself. You'll notice, right? If you've been in this in between for a while, you might have experienced some of these things. Maybe you've noticed I have multiple offers. Nobody's buying any of them. I could give so much, but people always ask for a discount. I feel like nobody's booking my discovery calls, or if they do, they're trying always to get a discount or price it down. I feel invisible. Nobody reaches out to me. I don't get inbound. I always have to do cold outreach and I'm exhausted. I want to work with bigger brands, bigger projects, but nothing seems to be happening. Like whatever feeling of momentum isn't there, you're not quite sure why some months are good, some months are bad. Some days you're thriving, but it feels like luck and you don't understand how you got this client and how you can replicate it. If some of this has been happening to you, rewriting a new sales page, launching a new website, a new offer that nobody buys from, yeah, we gotta talk, okay? So here's the thing. The way that I'd like for you to understand this first is that marketing, right, requires specificity. Otherwise, you are drowning in the noise. And now it is not to say that the internet is noisy and that it's too much competition out there and it's too late for you. It's totally always available to meet your dream clients. And most service entrepreneurs, like service-based entrepreneurs, stop motion artists, videographers, creatives, coaches, most of you only need max, maybe, and I'm already high on that, my number, 20 clients, maybe 5, maybe 4 to be booked out. So there's no such thing as a story that there's too many people on the internet, okay? So let's just put that aside for a second. I'll make a separate video on this. But marketing requires specificity because otherwise people will be scrolling and they won't feel the pull to come in to your world, connect with you, go deeper. It will just be something they see that day, right? If I say, I can help you lose weight, you'll be like, okay. If I say, I struggled losing weight after my 3rd kid and I realized that I had to shift my morning routine. So now I help mom build a 5-minute morning routine that helped them lose 20 pounds after their 3rd kid. Now, if you're a guy called Bob, you're not going to look at it. If you're a mom and you just had a 3rd kid and you're like struggling losing weight, you'll be like, what? Where have you been all my life? I've been looking for you, right? Specificity sells because people quickly recognize themselves. We are constantly scanning the internet for many things. We have entertainment, we have business knowledge, we have some niche, side interests, like I'm on BookTok, side quests, little things you do that you love on the side. I'm on Cooking Talk. Is that a thing? I love cooking videos. I'm watching music videos. Amongst that, I'm watching, some creative videography, Super 8. Like I have all these interests, right? So my feed, my landscape of the internet is filled with a lot of stuff. Now, if I'm looking for something and I'm seeing RYX concert tonight in that city where I live, my brain goes to, wait, I wanted to go to this concert. This is the artist that I already love. It is an hour from my house. Let me go there. Spoke to me directly because I'm a listener to that music in that location, in that area, right? If I saw an ad for an artist that I love in Australia, I, cool. Not flying to Australia tomorrow, right? So when we think about advertising, paid advertising, it's often really targeted. You'll notice it is new local gym 5 minutes from your house. Why? Because who's going to the local gym? People living 5, 10 minutes, 4 or 5 kilometer radius. And so the audience needs to be spoken to directly. And so when you do paid advertising, you can't really skip it. You can't say, this is a gym for anyone in the world that's kind of trying to lose weight, maybe. No, it's going to be, this is the hot girl Pilates for girls that drink matcha and like beautiful things and some hot yoga and Pilates, and it's a new studio. It's going to speak to those women. If it's a new gym to lift heavy weight and it's for guys after work and it's open 24/7, we're going to write it down, right? So if you think about paid advertising, there's always a level of specificity, because if you just put an ad out and it says weight loss, nobody's going to see it. Nothing is going to happen, right? Now with organic content, with growing a brand online as a multi-passionate creative, that's when we're being confused, because we don't have the rule of paid advertising. We could technically help everyone. We could technically have a really broad audience, and most things have transferable levels of skill, right? So if you're a photographer, I know you can also photograph the portrait family of Bob, and you can also photograph cats, and you could technically shoot a wedding also, right? Technically, if you're a technical photographer, you could do anything for anyone at any time, any hour of the day. But now if we're not specific, we're not going to command higher prices. We're not going to work with dream clients. We're not going to be known for one thing. We're not going to get people to refer us, right? Do you have a friend that's a Reiki healer, gardener, does hairdresser also, and also runs advertising sales on the side, and also is a chef on the weekend? Do you have one of those friends? You know, the friend that has like 300 titles to her name? Now, think about a friend of yours that would need a photographer. Who are you going to think of first? The friend that's kind of everything and sometimes does photography, or the one photographer that occupies the whole headspace in your head that you're obsessed with? You save all her posts, you save all her photos, you hired her for photography. Of course, you're going to refer that person. Specificity sells. The thing is, we need to occupy some rental space in someone's mind. They categorize us as one thing. And because of that, word of mouth works, right? I will always refer the one videographer I hired to do my yoga retreat a couple years back. I'm obsessed with her work. She's incredible. If there's anybody in that area, she's the first that comes to mind. People occupy a title in our mind. And that's why we can refer them, we can speak of their business, we can send them people. So on a small scale, this naturally works. On a bigger scale, right, when someone finds your Instagram and your everything, they don't remember you. In fact, we rarely remember anybody we follow. I want you to think about it right now. The 5 people you followed yesterday, can you tell me who they are? Probably can't. I can't tell you the last 5 posts I like or the last 5 things I saved. We have a lot of things we, for a brief moment, will be interested in. We'll look at it and consider it and think, well, this is fun. Maybe we save it. Maybe we send it to a friend or to a business partner. Most likely we forget about it. And so how do you become known for one thing when most people don't remember you, when most people don't know how to categorize you, when most people forget what you do and only remember after you've told them 300 times? Well, you need to repeat one core message time and time again, right? If you're into romantasy or fantasy, your favorite author, they're a fantasy author. They're known for fantasy books, and you're looking up to their next sequel or the next book they're going to launch. They're part of that world in your head. If they were also doing recipes and cookbooks and 700 other things, they might not be your favorite fantasy author because you would not categorize them this way. And now your multi-passionate self, I'm pretty sure, is like, but I'm good at so many things and I want to do all of it. You can. with a caveat, okay? So there's two ways that I see this happening. On one side, we need to look at personal branding as the sum of all the layers of you. So your personal brand technically can hold so much more than your business. The business has a purpose. The business has the purpose for someone to categorize you as something in the context of solving a tangible problem with a tangible solution. There's a unique way to the way you solve what you do, right? A photographer specializing in artistic, creative direction and Super 8 film for weddings is going to speak to a very niche audience that's maybe into the old money aesthetic or vintage nostalgia. It's not going to speak to the classic corporate 9 to 5 couples that wants bright and colorful photos. There's a certain edge to what you do that's going to solve a problem for a specific solution to a specific audience. And that's why determining who you are, what's your main offer, what's your solution, and who it's for is really important as a business pathway. Now, your personal brand can hold the layers that make you someone people vibe with, someone want to communicate with, someone wants to interact with. And so, no women that is dreaming of, working, building a 300 employees and empire and working on our laptop 14 hours a day in this suburb or in a small box apartment is gonna look up to me. The women looking up to me like to spend the whole morning at the beach and run a successful business. They like to be able to take off and be offline or read some books in the afternoon and pursue their creative passions on the side and run a successful business. I'm someone that approaches business as a holistic, lifestyle first path. So yeah, I want you to be successful, but I also want you to be free and creative and have fun and have a life that is spacious, not dense and cluttered with all the things to do. And so we look up to people for the business path, what they do for us, how they solve it uniquely, and who it's for uniquely. We identify ourselves in that. But the personal brand can hold the layers, and that's what makes somebody even more trust you, relate to you, be excited to work with you. And so when we feel this conflict of, but I have so much to offer, I have so much to say, we need to ask ourselves, okay, but is my ego bigger than my desire to run a successful, streamlined, profitable business? Because I got entangled with my ego for a while, and it's not the best because your desire to be seen for all your layers is stopping you from building a very stripped back, simple business that works repeatedly, where leads come to you repeatedly, and you can predict your income. When you're too much caught up in the identity game of I want to be known for all that I am, you forget that business in its essence is a system, it's a path. It's a repeatable something that you can operate and let run, and it's not going to crash. It's like a car. When it's working, it's a full car. It's okay. You can let it be. But when we're constantly entangled in our identity, we keep building parts in the structure, but the car never gets to run. And so the personal brand is where you can express your layers, but it doesn't have to all be monetized. It's the spice, it's the you, it's the all of it. The business, however, needs to be simplified until you either have a bigger team or you're expanding. So as I mentioned, there's two paths, right? So the one path that I see is we have a big personal brand that has a lot of layers that really calls in our people that are as layered as we are. But then we have one main category that we're known for in people's mind. That's kind of the grounded logic of what you do in the function of how you do it for people. So for example, maybe you're specialized in romantic creative direction for heart-led blah, 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 but you're a photographer. Straight up, you take photos for people that needs photos for the website. We need to say it so simply so our mind understand that the personal brand should serve the business, not replace it. And so clarity on the business, clarity on how you make money, clarity on how you make money repeatedly, and then the brand you can play. So we become known for one category, but we let our expression and personality come through in the brand. And a second thing we can do is segment, divide, or delegate. We either segment our interest. My Romantasy author from earlier, she has a full Romantasy fantasy author profile. She has capacity, she has a team, she builds an entire separate channel where she cooks and she shares our cookbooks, and builds a whole reputation around that. And then we segment and we build strong businesses for every personal brand pathway. Now I know you're thinking, but Marjolaine, why can I not be all that I am? Why can I not be a romantasy author that's also a cookbook chef and that's also all of the things? You can, but don't do it until your business is stable enough to hold itself. So if you're in the early stage right now, I wouldn't recommend having such a complex business with 300 offers and 300 pathways just because you don't have the capacity to create enough awareness for people to care, for people to buy. Remember at the beginning, I told you nobody knows who they followed yesterday? For someone to remember you, you need to be in their face again and again and again as one thing for a long time. Otherwise, they just don't know you exist. They don't know what you do. They don't know how you can help them. Some women reached out to me to help their business after they had been listening to my podcast for 3 years. Sometimes it takes time to become visible in someone's mind. And now it can happen much quicker, right? I've had clients book me after finding me the same day. I'm not saying it's going to take you 3 years, but this only happens when you have a clear positioning and people get it instantly. And this is exactly what they've been looking for. And all the signals in your personal brand are pointing towards what you truly do, who you truly are, and who you're for. So is there a way, though, to bring all of our passions together? Yes. If we design the business and the brand to make sense within that universe. So you could be a romantasy author that cooks, but then we need to build the brand to still have one specific offer, one specific problem, one specific audience transformation. So if the vision you have for the world or for your people is that you're listening to audiobooks whilst you're cooking, we can build a world that makes sense. And then you're selling experiences where your book and the recipes are connected and it's a whole thing for a specific audience. We can build it. You can be a hairdresser that is also a Reiki healer. We can build it. But then the brand building needs to be still one cohesive world where there's one association in the mind. Oh, this is my spiritual hairdresser, right? Or this is the romantasy author that does audiobooks so you can cook in the kitchen. There's still one clean, known reputation. And so as a multi-passionate, the way you become known for one thing is by getting super crystal clear on what's the bigger world you're building, but what's the main path, transformation you're creating so that people know you for one thing, know what problem you're solving / when they need to work with you, and know how you uniquely solve it. And then we create clean monetization pathways. So this requires honesty and self-discovery. But also, it requires getting out of your own head and getting out of your entanglement and your need to be seen and realizing it's not about you being seen. It's about you truly seeing people and giving them a world to belong to. Thank you for listening today. I hope you enjoyed this. If you're thinking, I love all of this, but I'm feeling like I don't want to figure it out on my own, why don't you tell me what to do? I got you. I opened up my 5 weeks brand accelerator, which is Brand Unscripted, where we really refine your positioning, your voice, the way you show up, your audience, and what you're truly here to create. If that speaks to you, you can apply right below. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.